All right, I'm going to talk to you about leapfrogging and what that means to me and why I call it what I call it. So leapfrogging is a term I use for getting ahead of what's to come anyways. Okay, so let me explain. In fact, I've got a video called the 3-Day Deal. Watch that video. That's a perfect example of leapfrogging. And so what you're doing when you're leapfrogging is you see values, okay, or maybe this is the value, okay? So leapfrogging this is like the ask price that somebody has here down at the bottom, and here's what the true value is, okay? And when I say leapfrogging, that means there's somebody else in the room, right? Somebody you got to jump over, okay? So let's just say we've got something, and like I said, the 3-day deal is a perfect example. Now, if you just turned in the first time, I've made tens of millions of dollars in real estate. I've been doing this for over 35 years, doing it since I was 19 years old. Been real successful. Love to share, and there's nothing like investing in real estate. Easiest money you'll ever make, funnest money you'll ever make, best lifestyle you'll ever have. So back to this. So the 3-day deal, this is a perfect example. The 3-day deal is an agent put up a property as a auction. He wanted to do auction style. So this property is worth about 220, 225, and so maybe even a little bit more, probably about 225. Okay, so let's just say the true value on this property was 225,000, okay? Okay. And they said they were going to do it auction style, so they started down here at 100,000, okay? So I told him as soon as this property was going to go on market, I said, let me know. I'll be the first one there. So I get there first thing in the morning. He said, I've already got 2 bids, one for 100, one for 110. I already know the property's worth about 220. So first thing I told him, I said, look, this is the leapfrog. I said, I'll give you $160,000 for it. You got to pull the signs out right now. Call the owners, tell them that you got $160,000 right now. Okay, I immediately showed him that I have more than enough money cash in the bank to write him a check. I said, we'll close it in 3 days. So he's like, well, I've already told a lot of people that, that this thing's, going to auction. I said, I don't care. I said, I want this property, and I'm not going to buy it after 1 o'clock. You can just say, forget it. I'm leaving. I said, I'm making you an offer right now. I'm not even going to think about playing around bidding on it. So I'm telling you, 160,000. Pull the signs out of the ground. He goes, well, let me call him. And so he said, can you put that right? And so I said, give me your email. And I wrote it down, and I texted it, or basically emailed from where I was standing, sent it right to him. I said, check it. You got it. You got it. He goes, I got it. He goes, I'll forward it to him. So I said, okay, let me know. I said, I'm leaving. You got my number. So I called him back about an hour or two later, and I said, so, hey, what's the deal on this? He said, look, I'm meeting him for lunch. He said, I know you're in a hurry and you want to get this done. He goes, I've got another offer up to 120 on this thing. I said, okay, great. I said, but he started in the morning. It's not like he announced this thing. So I knew that this thing was going to bid up to 225,000 by the end of the day. This is the leapfrog. I know what's to come. I could say, I'll give you 130. Somebody will say, I'll give you 140. Somebody will say, I'll give you 150. And pretty soon we'd be at 200,000 by the end of the day, and I wasted all this time. So leapfrogging is going, it's worth 225. So you come in and you leap over everybody else, okay? You leap over everybody else with a better offer, okay? In this case, 160K, okay? Now, in this case, another offer came in, 110, and another one came in at 120. But fortunately, it was early enough in the day that by the time it got to 1 o'clock, broke for lunch, talked to the sellers. He said, well, we're up to 120,000, but this guy came in early and said he'll give us $160,000, but we got to sign it today and be done. So he called me back at 1 o'clock and he said, hey, you got a deal. You got a deal. He goes, the owner said a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So bam, we made the deal. I cut them a check immediately. I said, I want to write it up right now, right now, right now. Always, always. Listen, you want to get it signed. You always got to get it signed right away. Okay, so that is that's leapfrogging. Again, is jumping ahead of everybody because you already know where things are going. Okay, now here's another example of it in a very different way. Market is dropping drastically, okay? So when the market's dropping drastically, hopefully you don't get caught in something like this. When you've been doing it a long time, you're less likely to happen, but part of this is part of the how do you get out. And so if you always buy things right, and you guys know, I only buy under market, only buy under market. And I'm not much of a speculator. I make my money on the purchase. So the values are going down. So let's say I have a property, we can even use the same example. So let's say I have a property here that's worth, say, $250,000. Market's just crashing for whatever. Maybe they laid off everybody in town, or maybe it's a much bigger problem, you know that hits the whole country. Okay, and I know that down here it's gonna sell, eventually it's gonna go down to $100,000. Let me change this a little bit. So I know that eventually it's gonna go down to $100,000. So what do? I'm not going to, so I'm at 250, okay? And now somebody else is selling their place for 240, right? And so how do I counter that? There's more on the market now for 250, then it's 240, and then, maybe up here before it was 280. So I'm not gonna ride things down slowly, okay? That's like this. If I sit here and turn up the temperature slowly, everybody's gonna get to my purchase price of 225. And if I sit there and deny myself the reality of what's to come, which is 100,000 in the future, the same thing. So what do? I leapfrog and I go down here, okay? And now I list my property to sell, okay? But I list it for 50,000 less than everybody. So maybe I jump down here to 190, okay? Everybody else is at 240. I leapfrog and I just go 50,000 beyond everybody, because the reality is there's already people kind of bouncing back and forth. Well, hey, they went from 240 to 250 to 240 or 240 to 230. Then all of a sudden they go, oh wow, here's one we can get for 190. Nobody's even close. They're gonna be there. I guarantee you, they're gonna be there. So what happens is I get my property sold, okay? Mine's sold. I get out. I'm as unharmed as I can be, getting ahead and getting out. Same thing here. I stole the deal here by getting in early and not messing around, not nickel and diming it up, and I'm not going to nickel and dime it go down. So in a nutshell, that's leapfrogging, and this is how you use it. You just have to, and if you know value, like I always tell you, know value, you will understand. You leapfrog, go to one, you jump ahead of everybody, get several times less than them. If they're 240, and maybe they drop 10,000 before that, you drop $30,000, $40,000, and then that way you've got at least a month, maybe a month and a half before they're gonna, feel the reality of it. You know what I mean? And chances are you'll sell immediately anyways when you jump ahead and beat everybody to the punch, so by getting it low. So that's leapfrogging, and also want to let you know I've got a book I wrote back almost 28 years ago. And I pulled it. Before I actually published it, I was just too greedy making money. I didn't really want to share it at the time. But I've since reopened it, and it's fun to read. I actually read it now, and I'm thinking, geez, I'm telling the same things I told back then. But if you write me, Tom at FlipAnything, so Tom at FlipAnythingUSA. Man, it's a mouthful. .com. Just write me, Tom at FlipAnythingUSA.com, and you can have the book for 99 cents. Not today, but pretty quick here. So Tom at FlipAnythingUSA, get the book for 99 cents. And again, take away from this leapfrogging, it is something that can save you and make you rich and avoid you from from becoming poor. So that's it. Be sure to share and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I enjoy sharing it with you. So be sure to get the app. If you don't have it already, you can get it free on Android or pay $20 to get it on iOS. Do the best money you ever spent. It'll take you further along. You'll be able to share and catalog your properties, and it'll just make you a better, more organized investor. Thanks for watching.